Welcome to our viewers. We have with us today as a guest Professor Dr. Anis Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu wa rahmatullah.
We'd like to start today's program by reading a few verses from the Quran. This is from the 4th chapter, verse 171. Believe then in God and his apostles, and do not say God is a trinity. Desist from this assertion for your own good. God is but one God. Dr. Anis, I'd like to ask you, what's the context of this verse? Who was it directed to, and what's the situation?
Thank you, Dr. Linda. The ayah relates directly with Christian community. However, it addresses itself to all those systems of thought where the deciding factor is not pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but other factors. For example, if a philosophical system has certain instructions for economy, certain others for family, a third criteria for culture, then it is following three different ultimate concerns.
Okay.
The Quran in this ayah and elsewhere says, it's not a matter of theology, it's a matter of living a life. Life has to be lived in an organized manner, and since the whole universe is running on the principle of unity, there is a unity and uniformity in universe.
Okay.
Therefore, human life should also have similar approach. Secondly, when we talk about Trinity, as this ayah refers, Islamic assumption is belief is not a matter of what I confess.
Okay.
Belief is a matter of what I do. Therefore, belief must be relevant with my actual living. If, for my own convenience, I call a table as chair, then I have to explain that I mean by a chair a table. If I call it directly a table, no need for me to take a detour. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ultimately one, I don't have to call him first three, then say three in one, then say one in three, and then say, well, I think it's more logical and rational to claim Allah is ultimately one. Islam makes things simple for us and not complicated and difficult. Therefore, the Islamic principle of Tawheed is essentially a matter of translating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's authority, power, knowledge, and what He wants from us in our actual life.
Yes.
Tawheed is not a theology. Tawheed is that principle which determines culture, economy, political life, social life, family life, and therefore a person who claims to be believing in Tawheed says, I believe in Tawheed, but in my family matters, I will follow my tribe. In political matters, I will follow X, Y, or Z as the Enlightenment philosopher. In my economic matters, I'll go and take guidance from someone who is a top-ranking economist. Then this person is not translating Tawheed, not living Tawheed.
Okay.
Islam is a matter of living, not just a so-called confession of faith,
Yes.
a so-called
Creed.
formula or creed which you have declared and then you forget about it. So I know some people may think, well, if we just say Trinity, so what? It's okay. But Islam wants us to say what we are going to translate in our actual life.
Okay. Whereas a person, we're used to hearing the phrase, don't practice what you preach. You are saying, let's preach what we practice. If what we practice is the right way, then let's talk about it in the right way as well.
Yes.
The Islamic creed, there is no God but God.
Allah.
There's no God but Allah. Is this new to Islam?
No, I don't think, because if you go to Quran, the Quran tells us that Sayyidina Ibrahim or Abraham, who is taken undisputedly as a remarkable person, the term used is patriarch in literature. The Quran says Ibrahim was neither a Jew nor a Christian, but he was the person following a straight path. And therefore, a prayer is mentioned in the Quran with the help of Ibrahim and Ismail, his son. Both of them pronounce a prayer and say, "O Allah, make us from those who follow you alone as Muslimin, as believers who have submitted to Allah alone."
Okay.
So the Quran tells us Islam, Allah's name and the creed as it is not a discovery, but it's a matter of trying to re-establish it, trying to put it again in its pristine, pure form. So Islam is not a new religion, it's not something which Muslims claim, but it is exactly what Sayyidina Ibrahim or Patriarch Abraham propagated, left to his progeny, but for some reason they were unable to preserve it and promote it in same manner.
I think a lot of Christians would say, but this doctrine of the Trinity, it's something in our history. After all, we went through a period of history where philosophy was very much the order of the day,
Sure.
as science is today.
Yes.
In today's world, we want science to back up everything we believe. And that was the situation then. It was philosophy. Philosophy was the common currency, you can say, of the day. If you wanted to measure something, it was in terms of philosophy. So quite naturally, Christians in the church asked questions and they articulated their answers in terms of philosophy.
Yes.
So in that sense, the Trinity is a doctrine that has meaning for Christians. It has a history. It answers
Yes.
certain philosophical
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
So how does this conflict with the picture of God as one? Is it really important, the words you use, the names you use? Isn't it enough, after all, for a person to believe in God?
Two quick comments. Firstly, nothing wrong in looking on history, but to make history trans-historic is unhistorical. Whatever is there in history is frozen and remains there. You cannot make it relevant today. So as history, if someone believes in that, I don't have any problem. But when someone says, no, although it is history, but as a myth it must continue, then we have some problem intellectually.
Okay.
Second quick comment, Islam is concerned about changing history and not worshipping history.
Okay.
Islam wants human beings to get the message and implement it by way of an ethical conduct. Tawheed is essentially an ethics. An ethics of how to deal in family, how to deal in society, how to deal in economy, how to deal in political life.
Yes.
All these aspects, when dealt ethically, are controlled by one single principle of Tawheed.
Okay, the oneness
Now,
of God.
oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This aspect of Islam makes it relevant for all times to come and not confined in history. Therefore, the difference will be that Tawheed is a principle which has a vibrant, dynamic approach,
Okay.
while Trinity becomes a historic doctrine which is relevant in the Hellenic Greek
Yes.
mind. But should we continue not only praising but applying Hellenic Greek mind in a post-nuclear age? It looks odd to me that when you have a thought of certain age,
Yes.
bringing it to another different context.
Yes.
Islam never claimed an idea confined in one single place or territory. The principle of Tawheed is transcendent. It is neither Arabic nor Persian nor African. It's human. Therefore, the Quran says Tawheed is the principle of universe, humanity, and Muslims. All operate on this principle. It is not product of an age. While, as you said, philosophy and Christianity and many other systems are product of an age.
Yes.
And after that age, they must change their positions,
Yes.
or they should be revised.
Thank you very much for this discussion of Tawheed, the notion of the oneness of God in Islam. And to our viewers, goodbye, and we hope to see you again next time.